to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. Are you ready to discover some niche business ideas that actually work? Well, it's time for a motivational kick to jumpstart your next big idea. Here's your host, Spencer Haas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Niche Pursuits Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Haas. I blog over at nichepursuits.com, and today's going to be a really cool interview. I think it's cool because I'm interviewing my cousin, John Haas, and he was on the podcast actually a couple of years ago. I think it was almost 3 years ago now, and back then he was talking about his landscaping business and how he had evolved that into more of a tech-based company, if you will, as much as possible. But a lot of things have happened since then. It's been 3 years, and he no longer is involved in that landscaping business. He went back and got his nursing degree, but he still wanted to dabble in online businesses. So he worked as a nurse for a couple of years, and believe it or not, he has been able to leverage his knowledge of nursing into now a full-time career with his new online business. He just quit his job about 3 weeks ago, and he has steady income streams ranging from Kindle ebooks. And again, these are all focused on the nursing niche. He's really built up a great audience there, but lots of Kindle ebooks, his own website, of course, where he is selling a nursing training course. He also has a mobile phone app, and he's now in the process of creating a test preparation software for nurses that he's going to be selling here in just a little while as well. So his website is nrsng.com. It's nursing without the vowels, so nrsng.com is you can actually check out his website, what he's done there. He also has a free worksheet that he wants to give away to people that are thinking about how can they build an online business themselves, what niche did they go into. Takes them through a lot of common questions. I think it's pretty cool. It's a worksheet. If you go over to johnhaas.com, you can download that for free. Again, it's johnhaas.com. A lot of really cool strategies that John shares during the interview. In particular, I love how he's been able to massively build his email list, his subscriber base, from about 9,000 subscribers 4 or 5 months ago to now 40,000 subscribers this month. And he's done that primarily through Facebook ads and his strategy of giving away cheat sheets on Facebook. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about that strategy, but it's worked so well. I wish I had thought of it sooner. I'm going to actually try and implement this into my own business. I think it's applicable across a wide variety of niches. So the Facebook strategy is awesome, but just the overall picture of building an audience, owning that audience, and then the opportunities to expand products beyond that are just huge. And so John has done that in his particular niche. Yes, he is my cousin, but he's an awesome guy. He's a true entrepreneur. I've been following along with him. We chat, of course, but great guy, just quit his job. He's making a lot of money with his online business. And so hopefully some of those strategies can help you guys in your business. So here's the interview. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. I've got a guest with us, and it's not just any guest, it's actually my cousin, John Haas. Hey John, how you doing?
Very good, Spencer. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is actually your second time here on the Niche Pursuits Podcast. What was it? It's been almost a couple years.
It's probably been 3 years even, maybe.
Has it really?
3 years. Yeah.
Man.
So that was quite a while ago, yeah.
Yeah, so
another lifetime.
Have things changed at all since then, or is
things have changed quite a bit. I would say pretty much everything in our life has changed since that point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I know it has changed a lot. Of course, we stay in touch, but we should catch people up with what has been happening. Last time you were on the podcast, we focused mainly on your landscaping business and how you were running it almost like a tech company and trying to do things as hands-off as possible. But like you said, things have changed quite a bit. So why don't you just update us? What has changed since our last interview?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, since we spoke last time, I was running a landscape company, and we were the reason I went into the landscaping business. It was something I understood. It was something I knew, and I had really dove deep into Longtail Pro and niche pursuits, and really felt like I could incorporate a lot of those blogging techniques and keyword techniques into building a landscape company, and we did, and we had a good amount of success. But at the end of the day, I realized that landscaping is very hands-on. I mean, it's an incredibly hands-on business, and you're involved in customer service, and you have a lot of customers that you have to be at their home every week, and that got to be very draining to me. I remember the Christmas before I stopped doing the landscaping, I barely slept for like a month because we were having customer issues, and then finding employees was a huge issue. And so it was just very hard. Having that physical business with service based just really started to eat me alive. Like I ran out of energy very quickly. So at the time, when we spoke, I had withdrawn from nursing school, and luckily my wife forced me to just withdraw and take a leave of absence rather than just drop out. So luckily she did that, and I had the door left open there at the nursing school, and I got back a hold of them and said, I'm ready to come back and finish. And so I only had one semester left, and I went back and finished that semester. So we moved back across the country. We were in Texas doing the landscape business, moved back across the country to Illinois for a couple months, and then finished that up, then moved back across to Texas, got my nursing license, and got a job in a large ICU here in Dallas, in a level 1 trauma center for any nurses out there, if that means anything to you, and loved it. And just really, a lot of those biases that I share on the first podcast we shared, I guess I can erase now, because I really enjoyed nursing, really loved it, and worked there for a couple years. And we'll get into the story a little bit more, but about 3 weeks ago, I was able to quit my job and focusing entirely on the online business right now.
Yeah. First of all, congrats on quitting your job and going full time into the entrepreneurship thing. I bet it's been quite a change, huh? Yeah. And we will dive into that here in a second, but we want to catch people up from, okay, you went from working in a trauma center as a nurse to now doing something full time online. So let's kind of connect those dots here a little bit. Give us an overview of your current business.
Sure. Yeah. So I guess a little bit of the backstory there. I've been doing Kindle books and niche websites the whole time. And, while I was working as a nurse, and that was one of the reasons that nursing stuck out to me, is because it was 3 days a week was full time. And so I had a couple days a week I could work. So as time progressed, I kept doing those Kindle books, and then working as a nurse, full time. And to answer the question, my business now is I do, it's a website called nrsng.com, and it's actually a nursing education site for nursing students. And so I provide mentoring, education, assistance for nursing students, as well as nursing schools, and nursing professors actually reach out to me as well to help with their curriculum and stuff. So that's the current business.
Yeah. And no, absolutely. And I know there's a lot to your business, which I know is kind of why you were going into the Kindle arena and everything else. Yeah. So I know that you're doing Kindle books. Let's maybe talk about your products. I know you're doing Kindle books. You have a nursing training course, right, on your website, and you also have a mobile app.
Right.
And maybe fill in the others areas of revenue that you have.
Sure. Yeah. So we do the books, we have the blog, we have the app that we released this summer, and then we have a training course. And so that's most of where the income comes from. There's a little bit of income also from like Amazon affiliates, and then some niche websites, and then we're getting into the FBA stuff now. I had to get my teeth in there. Hearing you and Scott and everybody talk about this FBA stuff, I just had to try it. But so that's been kind of the hard thing, is focusing and knowing where to focus the energy when there's so much that's available out there. But kind of have our hands in a lot of different areas, all focused on the nursing niche.
Yeah, absolutely. And so maybe it's a Haas gene problem. I don't know. It's a thing where we want to be involved in so many different things. And even though you have this great thing with the nursing, niche going on, you're dabbling in Amazon FBA and other areas. It's like looking in a mirror almost.
Yes.
Yeah, we can blame our grandparents or something.
That's what we'll do, I guess. Yeah.
But I know that early on, your Kindle books actually were the initial driver of success for you. You saw a lot of success there. So maybe give us an idea of why you started in Kindle books, and maybe just some quick tips that worked really well to help you see that success with Kindle.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, before I say anything, I would tell anybody interested in Kindle books to look up Steve Scott. He has a couple websites, Steve Scott's site, as well as Self-Publishing Questions. Because when I initially got into Kindle books, I put a whole bunch of books out there. What I really liked about Kindle books is it's fairly easy to do. You can write in a Word document. You can use the knowledge that's already in your head. Then you can publish it up there to Kindle, and they make money very quickly. It might be just a couple bucks. It might be more, but it begins to make money very quickly. And so we had a little method that my wife and I set up where we were able to create a lot of books. And so we created a bunch of books, and they started bringing in some money. They were bringing in, I think, about $1,800 a month. And for us, that was huge. I mean, that was incredible. You know, we felt like we were online entrepreneurs. You know, we were making money. It was a nice side income. We were able to pay down most of my student loans from that. And so we focused really hard on that and just paying off loans and everything with that money that we were making. And then about a year ago, it was almost exactly a year ago, I kind of sat back and looked at the books that we were making, and this will be obvious to most people, and I may get slammed for this, I don't know, but I realized I needed to start making better quality books, right?
Right.
I mean, quality sells. People recognize quality. They recognize effort. And you look on YouTube, the best videos are going to be the high definition. You look on blogs, the clean, nice blogs are going to be the best. And it's the same with the books. There's a lot of people throwing books out there because it's easy. But I realized if I put a little more effort into it and put more time and energy into it, then, I mean, at that point, I actually didn't know. I was hoping it would do something. So I sat back and we made some nice children's books with some nice illustrations and a nice story. And we put those up there, and they made probably 5 or 10 times more than the other books did individually. And so I thought, wow, that's great. You know, if I could do this, if I could have 50 of these books that were doing this, you know, that's incredible. And so I did a couple of those, and then I sat back one day and I thought, and my biggest reason not to want to do nursing is I didn't really want to have my personal name out there. I was afraid of the attacks from people, you know how people online can be, and that was a huge fear for me. And I know with your Niche Pursuits blog, like your face is out there, your name is out there, and it can be scary initially.
Sure.
But I sat back one day and I looked at some of the things that I had used in nursing school that had really helped me. It was personal notes that I had made and drawn to help me kind of get over some of the professors that were hard to work with, or the schooling that was hard to deal with. And I threw a book out there that was kind of focused on one of the most complicated things that nursing students have to deal with. And that book did 5 or 10 times better than the nice children's book. And I thought, wow, maybe I should just throw my name out there. And so I sat back, I went into my Dropbox with all my nursing school notes, and I started pulling out small pieces of information that were focused on very complex issues. So like they always say online, like instead of going, a mile wide, an inch deep, I found very, very small areas that were complicated for students.
Right.
And I went incredibly deep into those. I mean, these weren't huge books, maybe 15, 20,000 words on very, very tiny things. So instead of writing about nursing, or instead of writing about the national exam, I dove even a couple more levels deep and wrote these very highly targeted books about very specific issues and put those out there. And those started to do very, very well. And very quickly, we had 10 books or so that were in the top 20 for nursing. And that very quickly, I started that in probably the end of October last year. And by January of 2015 of this year, we were probably bringing in $4,000 a month. So like our income doubled in a matter of a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And so from there, we started putting more of these books out, and that started to really grow us as an authority. And the one thing, I guess that kind of gives the overview of the books, and we continue to do some of the books. We started making compilations of some of the books, but as we've grown and things, we've been able to do bigger books and more complicated things with the money that's come in, I guess.
Yeah. And can you give us an idea of what roughly an average month is now? What the revenue is like with the business for the Kindle books?
For the Kindle books, so for the Kindle books, it's at probably about $12,000 a month right now.
It's awesome.
And that's continued to grow, and there's ups and downs, and with the things that Kindle has changed and stuff, that's gone up and down, but it generally sits right around $12,000 a month right now.
Yeah. And now I know what's been fascinating for me to kind of watch you over your journey here is you started in the Kindle niche and did very well, but you quickly moved into building out an actual audience so that you could become an authority.
Right.
And so I'd like to dive into that about some of your strategies for just building that audience, building your email list and some of those things that have worked really well. And what have you been able to do with that audience?
Well, that's one thing that people talk about a lot. And I would echo what is said all the time in the internet marketing game is the money's in the list. And I can't stress that enough. Everything that you do in your business needs to be about building your audience and building your authority, because without that, you don't have anything. That audience is what supports you. They're what builds you. They're what gives you confidence to keep going, and they're what is going to buy your products.
Yeah. The way I see it is, if you just relied on Amazon and Kindle, that's really not your audience, right? That potentially could go away someday. But I think you've been smart to shift and build your own audience. So sorry, I'll let you keep going there.
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we threw the books out there, and the books, I see everything that I do as a lead gen tool. Everything that we do, even the money making things, are all about getting more emails, because I don't know what the business is going to be in a year or two from now. But if I have those people that love us, then it can be whatever I want it to be. So yeah, the first thing we did with the books, one of the very first pages is just a little email opt-in saying, if you really like this book, you can get this cheat sheet, or you can download all the graphs and charts from this book if you go here. And people know, I try to be very open about it as they go to the little opt-in forms. Like it says, you're going to get occasional updates from us. So, but I put that in there and make sure they know that this is another tool that we can give you. And I make my tools good. Like I try not to make them just cheap little, one page or one little things. I try to make them things that are actually going to help people. And so that creates confidence in us, and it really solves a problem for people. I try to solve a problem with the tool. So the books had that in there. And then what we did from there is we created, and I think I got this from Ryan Moran, I don't remember who, but he said one of the things you can do with your emails is you can send out very scheduled and very targeted regular updates, so that every Friday at 11 o'clock, my list knows they're going to get something from me. And it's not just a newsletter. It's not just here's all the blog posts I want you to read. I send out an additional cheat sheet every single week to my entire list. And it goes at 11 o'clock every Friday, and I call them my Friday freebies. And so when they sign up for the list, they know they're going to get the Friday freebies. And so I send that out. And these are also I design them in Adobe Illustrator. I make them very nice PDFs that they can use in clinicals or in class that's really going to help them. And so then whenever we have something to sell, I can either mention it in there, I can send out an additional email, but they're expecting these emails from me. So we usually get a pretty good open rate, and we get a pretty good click rate because we're providing a lot of value to these people. And I don't just spam them. They only get emails on Fridays or when we're going to offer something.
Yeah.
So we did that with that. And then we created, where I've had the most success with building my list has really been on Facebook, honestly, with Facebook ads. And what I love about Facebook ads is you can target them so specific. You can get in there to your Facebook account and you can target by age, by what type of phone the person uses, what types of things they buy online, what zip code they live in. And so by playing around with that, what I would suggest to people is set aside a couple $100 for Facebook ads. And then what Facebook already does automatically is they'll tweak how often your ads are showing based on which ones are working. And so I'll go in there every 2 days or so, and I'll turn off the ones that aren't working well. And then I'll look at the one that's working, and I'll create a new ad with different pictures and different wording, trying to get my clicks down as low as I can get.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to dive into this Facebook strategy that you've had. And I kind of want to make people aware of how successful this has been so they start paying attention, right? So let's give them some numbers. Can you give us an idea of when you started your list, when you had 0 people on your list, and how big your email list is today?
I don't remember when I actually started, but our list today is about, it'll be about 40,000 by the end of this month, I think.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And I was looking back, I think in June it was about 9,000. And so I play with it Like I play with how aggressive I do something depending on if I feel like I'm going to be launching something in the next month. So yeah, if we have something coming up, I put a bunch of money into my Facebook ads.
Yeah. So since June, and I don't know how long it took you to get that 9,000 people, but whatever it was, but since June, that's only, what is that? 5 months, something like that?
5 months or so. Yeah.
You've grown it to 40,000 people. So you've grown your list by 30,000 people in 5 months.
Yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. That's pretty good.
Yes. Yes, that is very, very good. Most people have nowhere near that amount on their email list. So I want people to pay attention now because that's huge. So how did you do it with Facebook in particular? Because I know that's where the majority of your opt-ins have come in.
So the first thing I would just reiterate again, everything you make is a lead generation tool because that's all that matters is your email list. Okay. So I'll say that first of all. Second of all, I guess diving more into Facebook. So like I said, what I'll do is I'll get a couple really nice images and I make them nice images, not, little geeky pictures of me or anything, but like an image, like if I guess to use like Scott's example, if I were selling a garlic press, I would get a very nice picture in a kitchen cooking that kind of shows what's happening once I use this tool,
Right.
And I'll get 5 images like that because Facebook allows you to have 5 images or 6 images maybe on each ad set. And so I'll do a different image for each one, or I'll do the same image and change. And then on my image, I'll put an additional image that says like download here or try for free or start today, something like that. And I'll throw all those up there and you'll be surprised how the smallest change in the image will get you more downloads. On one of my ads that I use right now, it's all the same image, but it has a little bit different filter. So like just a little bit different lighting on the image. And one gives me like 5 cents per click and another is like 40 cents per click. So it's such a huge difference with minor changes.
Wow.
So I play with everything, play with the lighting on the images, play with the wording. And then, like I said, so I'll get all my 5 or 6 images up there with one set of wording, and then after a couple of days, I'll go in, I'll look what's working. I'll start turning off ones that aren't working well, give it another couple more days and then continue to turn them off. So then all of my money that I have dedicated to that ad is going to one ad that's working. And then from there, I'll build on that. So I'll take that ad that's working and I'll start tweaking either my headline, my image, or my call to action. And then, so I'll continue to build on that. And what I've been able to do, and I don't know if this is good or not, I don't read in a lot to how much people are paying to get email subscribers and stuff. But what I can generally do is I can get subscribers for about 8 to 15 cents a subscriber.
That's ridiculous.
Is it? I don't know. I really don't, because
that's amazing.
Well, it seems really good to me, and that's why I just
really
put money into it. And so, I'll usually spend a few $100s a month doing that. And again, the first email people get, they understand that I'm going to be emailing them every week. They also understand who I am. So the first thing they'll get is they're going to get the cheat sheet that I promised them, and it's going to be very good, and it's going to blow their mind, and they're going to be able to use it starting today.
Yeah.
The second email, sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to interject before you get too far down the funnel here. Right. So I want to clarify some of what you said with your actual ads. So one thing that you kind of just mentioned that we didn't really talk about is that you're offering cheat sheets. That's your lead magnet, right? Yes. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit. Like, what does the ad say and what's on your landing page and what do they get?
Let me get into my Facebook account really quick.
Sure. And it doesn't have to be exact word for word, but I want to give people an idea of, what you're actually offering here. You're not, you're not giving away an entire ebook, or anything like that. All. Yeah, that's the thing. I think people, what I've done and so this is another obvious thing that, people might think I'm stupid for not realizing earlier, but what I've done is anytime someone like you or Scott or Nick Loper or Pat Flynn recommends something, I give it a shot, I give it a shot and lo and behold, it works. Like the stuff you guys are teaching works. And that's why like my business has transformed, tenfold in a year, So people will put way too much thought into what they're giving in their email bait. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have to be a huge book that you create. It doesn't have to be a webinar. It doesn't have to be a contest where you're, giving away a $200 watch or something like that.
what it needs to be is it needs to be something that solves a problem for people. And so I sat down, I talked to the guy who's getting into the hunting niche yesterday, and he was talking about how on his Facebook page, the most popular post they've done on their Facebook page is what to pack in your kid's backpack for a hunting trip. And I said, boom, there's your email bait, like a sheet that tells everything you put in the backpack that's nicely designed, good colors. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it has to be.
And it's just a PDF download, right?
PDF download. That's all it is. But it has to solve a problem. It has to really help them. If it doesn't really help them, they're not going to open the next email. If it really helps them and it's designed nice and it works well, then it's going to work. But I guess, like you said, like you don't have to spend months creating this thing. Mm-hmm. You just need something that solves a problem that's going to get people to look at it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So looking at the one I have going right now, I have several going right now. And like, for example, one of the ads was costing me 25 cents per click. One was 18. And so I turned those ones off quickly. The ones that are going now are 7 and 8 cents per click. And then I usually get about 50% or more opt-in once they get to my landing page.
And again, you don't have to give us the exact ad copy, but is it essentially saying, hey, download your free cheat sheet on this topic?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at it right now. So it actually says, it's what you exactly just said. It said, download this free cheat sheet, what it's called, share with a nursing buddy. And so I found that little copy has actually helped me quite a bit is when I tell them to share it. So even on my Facebook posts on my page, I say, hey, share this with a buddy. Like, it's going to help you. And then I'll use words like, we're all in this together, or let's help each other out,
To sort of encourage them to like or share. Or, right. Yeah. Make them feel like they're part of a Facebook group. Right. Yeah.
So that'll be my top copy. And then I have just a really nice image. And then below that, I usually use just exactly what it is. Like, this one is exactly what the cheat sheet is right underneath it. And then below that, I have another thing that will say, like, stop struggling with this. This free 2-page PDF is going to solve that problem. And then my little call to action button just says download, and that's it.
Nice. And so then are you using lead pages, or what do you use?
Exactly. So I feel like I'm just as scattered now as I feel in my business usually. But I think that the steps that I would tell someone to start their online business, and it would be different for everybody, but for what I have done and the way that we're making money, this is what I would tell you to do is get a subscription to Lead Pages. It's $37 a month if you want to do month to month. Cancel anytime. Get MailChimp or Aweber. MailChimp is free for the first couple thousand people, so that's nothing. Get your domain. It's $9 on GoDaddy or whatever. That's it, right? That's it. So that's really all you need. So you get your domain set up, get your hosting through Bluehost or GoDaddy, whatever. That's a couple bucks a month as well. So total, you're talking $50 to get started. So you set all that up, get your domain set up, hire somebody on Upwork if you don't know how to do it. So get that set up and just create a one-page website that is your lead page. So what Lead Pages does is it just creates a static page that allows someone to put their email address in. And then you link that up with your MailChimp account. And so start with just one page. And so when you create your Kindle books, when you do your podcast, when you do your YouTube channel, everything that you're doing, you're always saying, hey, and this free cheat sheet for this is here. This free cheat sheet for this is here. Go to whatever your website is, .com/free. And that's all you have to do to start. That really is. And as soon as you have that list, so you do that first. You create that cheat sheet first. And then you start making a book or two and start throwing your books up there. And then those books will start giving you a little bit of income, even if it's $20, $30 a month. That gives you motivation to keep going. And the whole time you have your lead page set up and you're collecting emails. So when you release your second book, you have a bigger audience and a bigger audience. And then all of a sudden you have 1,000 people that are buying your 99-cent book. That's a few $100s,
Yeah. And, I think that model works so well for whatever your product is, right? So it could be Kindle books like you're talking about, but it could also be a software application, or Absolutely. It could be a training course, which you do have now, and that sort of thing, right? So just about whatever your angle is, this just works really, really well. So I don't want to gloss over the Facebook thing too much, because I know that's been huge to build your audience. Oh, yeah. Is there any other things there that maybe we didn't discuss? I guess one question I had, you mentioned, you're testing these 5 ads. How long do you let them run before you decide which one's the winner or not?
Like I said, really within it, if you throw enough money at it, which might be as little as $50, and that, like, I would say, sit down with your spouse or sit down with your partner, whoever it is, and say, like, and try to agree on an amount that you're willing to invest in this business to start. If you're just starting,
Yeah.
If you're already starting, I would say $50 even. I'll throw $50 at all of the ads, and then even as quickly as 2 days later, I'll start turning stuff off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just constantly tweaking or adding new ads.
Tweaking. Like, I'll
Right.
usually go in maybe about once a week. And now, like, I've been doing it for a year or so I know which ads are working. And I've run a couple ads continuously for a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's huge. And so here you are, you've now built this big audience. You know, you've been doing Kindle books, but you decided to move on. Why don't you tell us about the course you created and how that's going?
Sure. Yeah. So the course I heard about, I'd been thinking about doing a course because you hear everybody talking about courses, and had a lot of people through the email asking me to teach or to share this with them and stuff. So I've been looking for something to do with that. And then I was listening to Nick Loper's podcast. I listen to several podcasts a day because you get so much information, and, like, I don't have a lot of internet entrepreneur friends around here in Texas. And so I feel like listening to these things, you can be part of that community. But I was listening to his podcast, and he interviewed Ankur Nagpal with Teachable. And Teachable is a platform that allows you to create a course, and it's very easy to do. It's free to start as well. And so because I initially had thought about doing, like, a huge membership site, and I just didn't want to spend the time and energy to get into that if it wasn't going to work, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I heard about this Teachable thing, and while the podcast was still playing, I already had my account set up and the structure of my first course. It was that quick. It was that because it was so easy to do, and I really believe it is a very easy system. I'm not an affiliate for it or anything. It's just very easy to do. And so, based on what book was selling the most, based on our podcast and feedback from our audience, let me just say this really quick too. Sorry, this is another tangent really quick, but in the very first email you send people after you send them their free thing, ask them, what are you struggling with the most? And listen to that. And what we've done is we've created a whole separate couple documents where we copy every single struggle that people are having. And then we go in and answer those, whether it's a podcast, YouTube, or whatever, we answer them directly. And so what that gave us is it gave us a gauge of, 50% of our audience is struggling with the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that told me that's what our course needs to be about.
Totally.
And so that's exactly what we made the course about. I hired one of my nursing friends to help me with it. And we created a course about medications because it's an area that we kept hearing students struggling with. It's an area I struggled with in school. And this nursing buddy of mine just happened to be a pharmacist from India. So it worked out really well there.
Wow.
And we created this course in a matter of a couple weeks, including paying my buddy. I put so because I did pay my buddy, that cost a lot more. I mean, I paid him, I think, $1,500 or $1,800. And for him, that was great because it was only a couple hours of work where he recorded some videos. We threw it up there. I emailed my list, said, here you guys go. Here's the course. We launched that in August, I think. And since August, it's been doing about $10,000 or so a month.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't overstate how awesome that is. I think it's just so great. I mean, here you were about a year ago, didn't even have a nursing site, right?
Exactly.
And, now you're making 20,000+ a month between your Kindle books and doing your course as well. And I know as well, just so we can get it in, I don't know how much depth we'll go into this, but I know you also launched a mobile app for the nursing niche as well. Why don't you tell us about that a little bit and how well it's doing?
So that was hard for me. I mean, obviously too, that's a whole nother topic and everything, but nurses by nature are kind of type A personalities. They like to be in control a lot. That's just kind of the nature of nurses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no exception to that at all. And that's a downside. I'm not saying that's not a good thing when you're talking online business. And unfortunately, programmers, their mindset I found is, I don't need to talk to you. I'm not going to talk to you unless I need you, and I don't need you. If that makes sense. I don't know. You've had more experience with programmers than I.
Yeah.
I mean, they know what they're doing, and they don't need you. Once you tell them what you want built and stuff, I mean, they really don't need you. And so there was a lot of things with the programming that I struggle with because a lot of times you're in the dark with it because I don't know programming. I don't know coding. I sent them all my wireframes and stuff. And then it's like, it's kind of in their hands. So that was a struggle with it for me. Another struggle that I still struggle, because we're doing another piece of software now too. I know we haven't talked about that, but another struggle for me is that finding a good programmer can be hard too.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, so anyway, we built this app. And like I said initially, everything you do in your business is a lead gen tool. And so we built the app for two reasons. We built it to test something for the software that we're doing soon. And then we also built it to collect emails. And so it's a free to download app. And then it's a freemium. And then there's an upgrade for $9. And so the free version, what we do is we track kind of stats and different things on people. And so we require an email address to use it. And we use that email address to track them and stuff. And so from the app alone, I mean, we get probably 100 or 150 downloads a day of the app. So that's 100 emails just from the app that we get every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty helpful. So that was really the vision behind that. The app hasn't made as much as I would have hoped. I haven't put probably as much energy as I should into marketing it and stuff. But alone, what it's doing is it's giving us, another 3,000 emails a month or so.
Can you give us an idea of how much it costs to develop the app?
So I lucked out big time because I ended up having my brother-in-law develop it, and I wouldn't necessarily. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily recommend using family and stuff. For me, it worked out really good because my brother-in-law is awesome, and he's an incredibly brilliant programmer. So, but what he did is he ended up only asking for equity after he finished, actually. So he takes 15% of the sales of the app for as long as we have it.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. So, I mean, I know it is making some money, but even just the emails from that, I mean, 100 emails a day.
Yeah, that's huge. I think
is big to build your audience.
I mean, yeah, we're making money off of it. We're paying 15%, and then we're getting emails. So it's a huge win if you look at it like that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now let's look to the future just a little bit. And we haven't even said the URL yet. Maybe you can say what the URL is for this nursing site and what the plans are for the future with this huge email list you have now.
Sure. Yeah. So our domain name is nrsng.com. It's just nursing without the vowels. I thought it was really clever when I bought it. It seems to be more confusing than anything else, but yeah, so we have the blog there. We haven't done really much of anything with the blog. The future plans are we have some pretty significant software, I think, that should be done in the next month or so. And I'm incredibly excited about that because if it works as we're anticipating it working, it'll really be a game changer for nursing education, I think.
Awesome.
So yeah, we have another developer working on that right now. And so that's the big plan. That's the huge plan. The other plan right now, I'm currently working on additional courses because I really enjoy teaching. Courses are hard because it does require a lot of upfront time, as with anything online, and then you don't know how it's going to do.
Right.
So yeah, we're hoping to do the courses. We're hoping to do that. We're having more and more nursing programs contact us about using our books and our things in their curriculum. And so I'm super excited about that. It's very validating to what we're doing.
Now your Kindle books?
Yeah, our Kindle books.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's always really fun to hear from professors and deans of colleges that see what we're doing, because there's so much that needs to change. That's not just in nursing, that's in any industry. And if you're the one who because pretty much any industry has its bureaucracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go in there and you try to disrupt that bureaucracy, it's going to strike a chord in a good way with a lot of people. And I think we've done that with nursing education, to where there's a lot of professors and schools that see what we're doing and recognize it as good for the industry. So yeah, we're hoping to do more courses, got this software coming. I'm looking at I have a couple FBA products that I'm trying to get up and going. And I'm really hoping 2016 becomes more of marketing what we currently have. That's kind of my goal.
Yeah.
Because now we kind of have enough stuff out there. We can see what sticks, and then we can kind of grow the brand and market what we currently have is the goal.
Yeah. Again, I do want to say congrats on quitting your job. You've got an awesome business. It has to feel pretty good. I mean, you're not reliant on any Google updates or Amazon updates. Yes, a big chunk of your revenue is on Amazon, but you have this huge email list and other products that they're yours. You own them. And so I think you're in a really good space where you can grow and expand and do a lot of these things and hopefully see a lot of success like you're planning on doing. So I have a couple of more questions. I mean, first of all, you've gone from working as a nurse now to working for yourself at home. What's that transition been for, what's it been like for you? What's it like working for yourself?
Well, without telling everyone the full extent of my email rant to you the other day, I'll just say it's difficult. I mean, I don't want people to think that I'm downplaying how incredible it is by any means, because it truly is. And it's been a long road and a lot of hard work. I kind of expected that first week of not having to go to work to be, like everything you expect your retirement to be,
Right.
But it wasn't, honestly. It was actually very difficult. We didn't need the money from my job, so it wasn't that, but it was more just maybe a slap in the face of, you are now dependent on you to make your living,
Yep.
And that really was a little bit hard. We had the lawn business before. That was a little different because it was a physical business and we kind of knew what was going to happen every month. With the online stuff, I mean, you can't think 5 years ahead, because if you think 5 years ago, the internet was nothing what it is today.
Yep.
And so that the second you start thinking in 10 years, while we're still doing this, like, you can't really think like that in the internet business. So growing the audience and stuff is our goal, so that we can have something in a few years. But overall, working from home is incredible. I get to take my kids to preschool. I get to go on walks with them. At 2 p.m. when it's good weather, I get to be outside with them. I would tell people, don't put it as like, then you've achieved. The day you get to quit your job is when you've reached the end, because that's really the beginning. And I don't want you to feel let down either when you get there. Just realize it's the beginning of something new. It's not the end of the hard work.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. It is quite a transition, right? You're at home, you open your computer and you say, okay, what do I do today?
Now what?
Right. You don't have a boss saying you need to do this, 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 and this. You are the boss and you have to figure that out. And so, I wish you the best of luck as you continue to figure that out. I know you're doing quite well. And we stay in touch, so I know what's going on, but you're doing very well. And we look forward, the Niche Pursuits community looks forward to sort of following along with your success.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to mention, because you actually put something together for this podcast, a little, almost like a cheat sheet for starting your own business, right?
Exactly.
So maybe you can tell people where they can get this and what it is.
Sure. Yeah. So like I said before, everything you do is a lead gen tool. And so I'll be straight up about that. I don't have any ambitions or anything right now to go into the teaching how to people how to make money online, but I wanted you to have a takeaway from this. And so I created a 4-page PDF document that I think is kind of like a worksheet. It tells you, it kind of works you through coming up with your niche. It also tells you a lot of the tools I use. And then I have a section called Take Some Freaking Action. And it kind of spells out step by step kind of what me and Spencer talked about and what I did to get to here. Because kind of looking retrospectively a year ago, I can see the steps I took and what worked. And so if you want that, if that sounds interesting to you, I also list my favorite podcasts that I do listen to quite a bit. But it's really kind of a worksheet and a tool to help you define your niche and get on that road. But if you want that, you can go to johnhaws.com, JONHAWS.com, or Lead Pages has this cool thing where you can text and get stuff. So if you text online to 44222, you can also get it that way.
Nice. I love it, man.
Yeah.
I've never had a text opt-in on the podcast. So
that's my first time to try it. So we'll see if it works.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So let me know. Can you see, I guess you can see if it's coming from text or online, right? So
yeah.
You'll have to let me know how that goes.
Yeah.
No, very cool. I did look at the worksheet. I think it's really great for somebody sitting down and thinking to themselves, where do I get started? I don't even know what niche I should go into or anything. It's a nice little worksheet to help focus your thoughts and help you thinking in the right direction. So I think it is a good worksheet, and at johnhaws.com. So other than that, are there any final tips or parting words that you want to leave with people here?
Yeah, I mean, I would say quickly, take some action, do it. The biggest thing I kept hearing from my family as I was doing this, and I would share kind of with my stats, is they would say, well, anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. And that's absolutely true. Anybody can do this. The difference between some of my friends and family and things that aren't at home during the week with their kids is that they aren't doing it. And so they're not seeing the rewards of it. So I would just simply say, do it. Like, take some action, set up that lead generation tool. Even if you have no content, set up that lead generation tool and get some emails, and people will respect you if you're helping them solve a problem in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. Great tip there. I agree. I mean, this stuff isn't necessarily rocket science. It certainly takes some education, so you kind of are following the right process. But I mean, that's simple things like setting up lead pages properly and setting up an email opt-in. It's not, some big, huge task. It just takes time. It takes effort. And if you stick to it and you actually are solving problems, like you said, your audience will respond. So,
no, and like you said, sorry, really quick. I mean, I don't want to downplay how difficult it is, and I don't want to, act like the last year's been easy. But yeah, because I mean, I would work 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week sometimes, and while family and things were going to movies, I was staying up till midnight working. And I know you're the same way. I mean, it's hard work, but I would rather be an entrepreneur than do anything else.
Yeah, it is. It takes a lot of work. Absolutely. But I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for, it's almost 5 years, almost awesome. 5 years. And I would never go back. There's no way I could work for somebody else. I was never really a very good employee to start with. But I got the job done, but I wasn't that great. But working for myself, I think I'm a pretty good boss to myself. So, so I enjoy it very much. But it is a lot of work, but it's a very exciting thing to see the ability that individuals have to create value for themselves, rather than somebody else's business. So,
absolutely.
So just want to say thank you for coming on, John, and giving us an update on your existing business. Congrats once again on quitting your job, and just best of luck in the future with everything.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks. And everybody listening in to the Niche Pursuits podcast, I always do appreciate any comments that you might have. So you can stop by at nichepursuits.com and leave a comment there. Or if you'd like to leave a rating review, you can go to nichepursuits.com/iTunes. Thanks a lot, guys.